Maldives-level villas for one-fifth the price. Real or too good to be true? That's the question I chased for 2 weeks, hopping between sun-splashed atolls and limestone cliffs to answer one thing. Can the Philippines give you the same jaw-dropping island magic as the Maldives without bankrupting your vacation fund? Spoiler up front, you can get many of the same wow moments for a fraction of the cost, but there are trade-offs, and they start the moment you leave the airport. On paper, both trips look similar: long flights, a final leg over water, and that moment when you first step off a transfer and see turquoise spreading to the horizon. Travel time is a real part of the equation. From major U.S. gateways to the Maldives, the most efficient routings usually take around 19 to 20 hours with 1 or 2 layovers, and then you often add a seaplane transfer to reach remote resort islands. That seaplane round trip can be a sizable line item. Think in the ballpark of $500 to $700 per person round trip, depending on the resort and runway logistics. The Philippines tends to sit in the 22 to 25-hour range from the U.S., again depending on connections, and the final island leg usually looks different: a van ride to a small port followed by a speedboat hop, or sometimes a short domestic flight plus boat. In many Philippine resort packages, that last leg is included. In others, it's a modest extra. Flight prices vary a lot with season and origin. They can swing wildly, but what matters is this: your calendar and tolerance for transfers can cost you as much in time and stress as the room rate itself. If you're tight on travel days, that 20 extra hours can be decisive. If this comparison is speaking to you, drop a quick comment: Maldives or Philippines? Tell me which island wins your imagination and why. Now let's walk through what you actually get at each stop, because the sticker price of a villa tells only part of the story. Arrival into the Maldives feels like a cinematic transition. You land on a domestic runway, board a float plane, and the atoll tapestry spreads beneath you, little green jewels ringed by white. That seaplane is not just transportation, it's part of the luxury script, an intro scene to the resort. The villas in the Maldives that wear the overwater title are often the pinnacle: interrupted loungers, private pools or plunge pools kissing the lagoon, glass floor panels where reef activity becomes living art beneath your feet, and finishes that read like high-end furniture catalogs. Expect rates for those headline overwater villas comfortably north of $1,500 a night in many resorts during regular season. In peak times, that number climbs. The level of polish, staff, turn-down rituals, private butler service, curated excursions is what differentiates the high-tier Maldives experience. The Philippines greets you differently, raw in a way that many travelers love.
Instead of a float plane, there's a van along a winding coast, or a short domestic hop to a small airstrip, followed by a speedboat crossing that smells like diesel and sunscreen. Some resorts on Filipino islands have adopted the overwater or overwater-style bungalow concept with glass floors and private decks, but the aesthetic leans more rustic chic than hyper-curated. That's where the price gap becomes real. I saw overwater-style options offering the same visual payoff: hammock over the water, stepped into the sea, a glass panel revealing passing fish, for roughly $250 to $400 per night in many places. You trade a bit of polish for huge savings, and often a more relaxed, less buttoned-up vibe. That's not better or worse on paper, it's a different flavor of paradise. Amenities tell the rest of the story. In Maldives resorts, you'll frequently find private infinity pools built into the deck, in-room jacuzzis, and attention to minute details, from pillow menus to evening rituals. Glass doors are standard in many premium villas, and the engineering means you can safely watch rays glide by without leaving your bed. In the Philippines, many resorts focus their resources on creating memorable public spaces and genuine local experiences: a communal meal with fresh seafood grilled over coconut husks, an island hopping guide who's been fishing the same reefs for decades, or a dramatic boat route that threads through limestone karsts. Some Filipino resorts deliver private plunge pools and upscale fittings that rival lesser Maldives properties. Others are perfectly content to offer clean, bright bungalows where the ocean itself is the luxury amenity. Let's talk activities, because that's where both destinations score big, but in different keys. The Maldives is famous for curated marine life encounters. Snorkel trips and dives are run by seasoned dive teams. The infrastructure and visibility often make it easier to encounter large pelagic species in a day trip format. Whale shark sightings and manta encounters are the headline moments people book for, and when everything aligns, they are unforgettable. But they aren't guaranteed, and crowds around known hotspots can build quickly when seasons peak. In the Philippines, the show is broader in scene, but just as compelling. Dramatic island hopping between limestone cliffs, snorkeling in coral gardens rich with tropical fish, and unique sites like Twin Lagoon that combines swimming with a sense of exploration. The Philippines also features whale shark sites, notably places where sightings are common during certain months, but once again, sightings are never promised. What you give up in one-on-one resort curations in the Philippines, you often gain in variety and sheer landscape drama. Reef dives, secret beaches reached only by boat, and times when you're the only kayak on a hidden inlet. On the day I swam near a whale shark, it was one of those surreal, humbling travel moments.
I remember the scale first, a calm, slow-moving silhouette, and the sudden quiet that comes over your brain when something that big glides by. I also remember getting a little queasy after an unexpectedly choppy ride back. Nothing dramatic, just a reminder that even the most beautiful days at sea can test your stomach. It's a human beat that made the story relatable and led to laughter later, but it also reminded me how much logistics, boat comfort, transfer length, timing of excursions shapes your memory of an entire trip. Dining is another place where budgets diverge sharply. In the Maldives, resorts have built experiential gastronomy into their luxury profile, underwater restaurants where the walls are aquariums and plates are crafted by renowned chefs, private sandbank dinners with sommelier pairings, and multi-course degustations that can run high. A signature underwater meal in a premium resort can reach approximately $400 per person, depending on menu and wine options, which is often more than a full day of meals in many places. The Philippines flips the script for those who love food but not the price tag. Fresh seafood markets, grilled fish on a beach table, dishes like sinigang and kinilaw that are both local and satisfying, and island-side restaurants where a hearty dinner can be in the $15 to $25 range per person. That's not a knock on Maldives cuisine, it's elevated and theatrical. But if you want immersive local food culture without the fine dining premium, the Philippines offers enormous value and flavor. Beaches, sand, and seascape are where emotions take over logic. The Maldives aesthetic is soft powdery sand, shallow lagoons with postcard blue gradients, and a curated sense of privacy. Many beaches are engineered to feel exclusive, with smaller guest capacity per island and private stretches of shoreline. The Philippines can deliver equally stunning water. I've seen turquoise sheets that rival any stock photo, but the beach texture may vary more. There are stretches with postcard powder, others with broken coral or shell fragments closer to the waterline, and that variety can surprise travelers expecting uniform perfection. Crowding patterns also differ. Some Maldives islands feel sparsely populated by design, others busier during resort changeovers or cruise schedules. Philippine hotspots can be bustling, especially when day trippers arrive, but choose your island and timing and you can find miles of near-empty coastline. Sustainability and environmental considerations are part of the modern decision. Many resorts in both destinations are making efforts, reef restoration projects, plastic reduction programs, and local community partnerships. The Maldives, reliant on its fragile island ecosystems, often highlights conservation as part of the guest experience. The Philippines, with its wider spread of inhabited islands, presents opportunities to engage with community-driven tourism and local guides who depend on healthy reefs for their livelihoods. If you prefer to support initiatives that directly involve local communities, ask resorts about their programs and how much of your excursion fees feed back into conservation or community support. Now for a frank look at value. If you're deciding purely on headline sensations, that overwater bungalow with glass floors, waking to the sound of waves under your deck, snorkeling right off your villa, the Maldives is still the apex in terms of a highly polished, exclusive presentation. The price for that dream is reflected not just in the nightly rate, but in the entire supply chain: premium transfers, curated dining, and a level of service that is consistently high. If your vacation goal is to check that specific luxury box and you can accept the cost, the Maldives delivers with very little compromise. But if your top priorities are bubbling sunrises, dramatic island topography, varied marine life, and maximum bang for your buck, the Philippines is a powerful alternative. For a fraction of the per-night rate, you can wake in an overwater-style bungalow, take daily island hopping trips, eat fresh seafood every night, and still have money left for extras like private guides or specialty dives. The key question becomes, what are you willing to give up to save money? If your answer is a little polish, a little guaranteed exclusivity, a shorter transport symphony, then the Philippines might be your secret paradise. Let me give you two realistic, cautious example budgets for a 5-night trip to help make this tangible. These are ballpark ranges meant to illustrate orders of magnitude and will vary by origin, season, and resort choices. For the Maldives, factor in international flights, which can vary widely, a seaplane transfer, around $500 to $700 round trip per person for many resorts, and overwater villa rates that commonly start around $1,500 per night for top-tier offerings. That quickly places a full 5-night stay for 2 people into the multiple thousands range once you add excursions and dining experiences. For the Philippines, consider international flights in a similar broad range, often a lower-cost last-leg transfer, van plus speedboat that can sometimes be included, and overwater-style villas in the $250 to $400 per night band for many properties. That same 5-night window for 2 people can fall into a much lower total, even with daily excursions and meals included. These summaries are intentionally broad. Always check specific resort packages, ask about transfers, and confirm any meals or excursions that are included before booking. Booking strategy matters. In the Maldives, look for package deals that include transfers and some meals, because the individual line items add up fast once you're on island.
In the Philippines, hunt for resorts that bundle island hopping or transfers into the room rate. That's where the best value often appears. Also consider shoulder seasons in both regions. You can save significantly while still enjoying good weather. Just be mindful of monsoon patterns and national holidays that affect both availability and price. Who should choose what? If you are after a one-in-a-lifetime, extremely polished, bucket list experience with maximum privacy and curated luxury, and money is secondary, the Maldives is hard to beat. If you want dramatic scenery, varied activities, very strong value, and a more social, adventurous island experience with local flavor baked into almost every day, the Philippines is an outstanding alternative. If your budget is mid-range and you want visual drama plus cultural texture, the Philippines gives you more options to mix and match experiences without sacrificing the "I'm on an island" magic. If you have limited vacation days and prioritize the shortest possible time from gate to resort experience, check specific transfer times carefully. Those seaplane transfers in the Maldives are beautiful, but they're also scheduled and can add waiting time. There are a few practical tips I picked up that make either trip better. Pre-book transfers where possible to avoid stress on arrival. Pack for both sun and splash. Reef-friendly sunscreen is a must for either destination. Bring motion sickness remedies if you know you're sensitive. Calm seas are common but not guaranteed. For divers and snorkelers, invest in a couple of days with a local guide. They know seasonal hotspots and can significantly increase the quality of what you see. And ask resorts about conservation fees or local taxes up front so there are no surprises at checkout. A quick human moment. On one of those speedboat hops in the Philippines, I underestimated the chop on the return leg and felt queasy enough to laugh about it later. It became a bonding moment with other guests and staff, the kind of small, slightly embarrassed memory that turns into a favorite travel anecdote. It's a reminder that even meticulously planned luxury trips are still travel, with moments of unpredictability that sometimes become the best stories. So, is the Philippines a dupe for the Maldives? No, it's not identical, and that's the point. The Philippines isn't trying to be Maldives. It's offering its own brilliant version of island life, more varied landscapes, deep cultural flavor, and a value proposition that allows travelers to spend on experiences instead of just a room. The Maldives preserves the crown for ultra-refined seclusion and a curated high-end product, but for many travelers, the Philippines delivers the sensory wow, turquoise water, brilliant reef life, and dramatic cliffs at a fraction of the nightly rate. If you're planning right now and deciding, here's a simple rule of thumb. If this is your once-in-a-lifetime splurge and you value private polish above all else, pick the Maldives. If you want variety, adventure, and to stretch your travel budget so you can do more activities, hire local guides, and eat well every day, pick the Philippines. Both destinations reward curiosity and respect for local communities, and both will leave you with photos that make friends jealous. If this helped you decide your next island getaway, hit subscribe and like for more deep dive travel comparisons. Tell me in the comments, would you choose the Maldives for the pure luxury or the Philippines for the value-packed adventure? And if you want a follow-up, I can do a packing guide tailored to whichever island you pick next. Say Maldives for plush resort essentials or Philippines for island hopping survival gear. Prices and transfer availability vary with season, so double-check specific resort packages before booking. Wherever you go, bring a sense of wonder and maybe a ginger lozenge or two for the boat rides.